Melanin Voices is a podcast geared towards building a community of those on a journey of self-discovery. We create space for guests and listeners to share their stories about their exploration of life, appreciation of the good, and how they overcame certain bullshit to get to where they are.
Every week, we take a dive into topics that affect each of our lives at one point or another. Hopefully, by hearing our voices, we will give you the courage to live authentically.
I'm Mariah, also known as Mariah Amazing.
And Yuna, hey! Now you are tuned into Melanin Voices.
Ready?
Let's do it.
Hi, everybody. It's us.
Hello.
We're back. Last week we talked about we did HBCU confessions. Was that our last week episode? And we just talked about relationships and stuff, and gave advice on what we think you should do. But obviously, don't talk to us. Talk to your therapist. We are not good professionals.
Not at all.
Not at all. But that was a really good conversation, and then we took some tips from you guys about what you've seen in a partner and kind of like what made you get with someone, also what's making you stay with that person and the traits that is. And that's really fun too. So thanks for participating in that. That extra laugh that you heard earlier is coming from our special guest this week, which is Michelle Cox. She is someone who works at the Legacy Center. I consider her a financial advisor, but I will let her say who she is and why she's on this week's episode.
Hey, so this is Michelle. I guess I would say a financial advisor. I just like to learn about the game of money. I like to teach my friends about money. I work at the Legacy Center. I'm the executive assistant to our financial director, and mainly just handling the life insurance and taxes that come through.
Cool.
Damn.
So you're the friend that is not afraid to talk about money.
No, I think I love talking about money, and I hate that everybody thinks it's such like a taboo thing to think about, especially like with your friends and family. I'm just like, those are the people that, you should have that conversation with.
Right.
You should collaborate ideas on, and I think it's such a lost thing in our community. Unfortunately, we aren't taught what we need to be taught in school. We kind of have to take the responsibility ourselves. And learn about it. But I'm the friend that's like, what's your budget looking like? How can I help you type of thing.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
I love that too, because I feel like with my friends, I don't know, I feel like I'm an oversharer. I will like, yeah, girl, I just got paid this, but like there's some friends who are like more reserved with talking about their salary or what they get paid, and while other friends, they're more so like open and talk about that and kind of collaborating. And I appreciate those friends because that kind of helps me as far as being like in the industry, as far as like being being part of a talent agency. I have some friends who are part of it as well, so it's cool to like hit them up like, oh my god, how much do you charge for a shoot? And they'll be like, I charge this much and stuff like that, because if they didn't give me those tools and like help me out, then I wouldn't know what to charge or like what's the fair price in the industry. So I think it's always good to talk about money in my industry and like all industries, honestly.
Yeah, and I think some of my friends are just where we're at in general in life. A lot of people are still trying to figure out their career, so they might, not be in the best financial situation. And there's so much capping on Instagram and people showing that, like
coming for y'all next.
Yeah, people just, like they want to put on this persona that they're getting it and they're doing this, and they might, but you post what you want people to perceive of you. And I think being on Instagram, sometimes it can, hinder people from showing the real side of things. And, I'm very frugal. I live way below my means, I make a point to. I have a 2014 car, and I'm cool with that. So,
it gets you from point A to point B.
Yeah, and I have bigger goals that I want to invest in, and not so much, what it looks like on the gram.
But you still look good on the gram, though. She's trying to front, y'all. She's trying to cap that she don't look fine on the gram, y'all. But no, I think that's really good that you talk about money, especially with your close friends and family, like I said, because I think that's helpful. I feel we talk about money a lot often too.
Yeah, as like a whole, as a community, we really don't talk about finances at all. It's like this taboo thing, and that's why we are how we are,
A lot of other reasons too. But That's a whole different episode.
Right.
But so we always start with a rose and thorn. So, but pretty much that just means what was a beautiful thing that happened to you this week, and well, last week actually, and then what was something you wish would have happened
different. Yeah.
Would have been different last week.
Okay, that's a great starting point. I would say, a beautiful thing that happened to me last week. My oldest brother FaceTimed me, and I hadn't spoken to him in years.
Oh, wow.
So I was my heart dropped when I saw him on the phone. I was like really excited to see his face. So we had like a really great conversation. So yeah, that was a beautiful thing. I was really happy about that. And something that I wish would have went differently. I wish I would have cooked last week and not spent so much money.
Oh, girl. I'm so
nope.
Speaking of money, same. It's really hard to adjust to quarantine because it's also like you're in the house all day, but it's like, damn, I want to get out the house. It's kind of your excuse, but also you're tired of cooking. You're tired of being cooped up, washing dishes, pots and pans, and then you're on the go too, kind of. I feel like I've been on the go, even though I'm on quarantine, but I've also been on the go. It's really weird. So
yeah, for me, that is where I do spend money, is on food.
It's convenient.
Same.
It is.
It's convenient.
It really is.
What was a rose and thorn for you, Fred?
A rose is that I y'all gonna be like, B, I know you lying. I went the fuck out of town, okay? I don't give a fuck what y'all say. I needed to get the fuck out of here, okay? I was very safe. I wore my mask the whole time, all that shit. But I had to get the fuck. I can't stay still for too long. I'd be like, okay, I'm tired of this shit. Especially like if I'm not going to work, even if I was going to work, I just like to get away. Even if I'm going a few hours away, I'm gonna get the fuck, okay? A thorn would probably be that, I'm still grieving, the losses of the people in our community, and I'm trying to figure out a way to do that in a healthy way, because it's like I'm feeling away, and then I get on social media, and it just makes me feel worse because all the people that are missing or have just passed, or like it's just that constantly, and that is so hard on my heart. But my yoga teacher recommended me a practice that I'll probably share with you guys next week once I do it a little bit more. Not next week, but the following week once I do it a little bit more. But that's probably the thorn for me. I'm still trying to figure out a way to grieve in a healthy way that's not like tearing me down and making me like so heavy.
Yeah.
That's me.
It's a lot.
Definitely.
It is a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What about you, girl?
I would say a rose is that today, after this conversation, I'll be heading to a tea party / bridal party for a friend of mine. So excited for her to have a little girl because we thought she was going to have another boy and she wanted a girl so bad. So I'm happy for her. Also, I think that's, okay, and also, no.
Girl, share the joy, okay?
This week, I just kind of took time to like self-care. So I know Michelle was saying that she spent a lot of money on food this week. I spent a lot of money on self-care. I don't even want to tell y'all how much I spent. But I will just say that I got a facial, chemical peel to be exact, as well as, what else did I do? I got a wax, of course, because I'm hairy as fuck. I've said this 1,000 times. I feel like I'm a hairy ass man.
You're a hairy woman. Okay.
I'm a hairy woman, but yes, exactly. I claim that.
Okay, girl.
I claim that hairiness, but sometimes I want to get rid of it.
Yeah,
so that Brazilian came in handy. So that Brazilian and that facial was a pretty penny. However, it was worth a pretty penny. So I would say that's it.
You deserve it.
Thank you, friend.
You deserve it.
So that was that. As far as a con, I don't know, just transitioning, like, as far as, like, living situation and just, like, life in general. It's been kind of ebb and flow kind of thing, but I'm trying to find my footing and just kind of take it as it comes. So, that's it. That's all.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's get...
I like that.
Thank you. Let's get into Melanin Message. Let's get into Melanin Message and speak to Michelle about working at the Legacy Center. So, my first question that I have, people had a lot of questions for you. But so I definitely don't want to take up the time asking my questions that we had on the sheet. But the first question that I have for you is, let the audience know it is what you do. So I know that we talked about it already before we got on the call, but what is your role at the Legacy Center? What do you do there?
My main role at the Legacy Center is handling taxes for clients. Yeah, just to answer that question, I mainly, assist with the life insurance and taxes at the Legacy Center.
Okay.
I don't know what it is about money, but I'm like, I don't want to talk.
Why don't you? This episode you were so in for.
I'm like,
what is?
I mean,
what,
I know it's
why
good.
is your feelings around money surrounding that?
Because like the lack of money that I have and the lack of money that I see people around me have is not motivating to me. And to see people with money is also not. I don't know. Money is just like a topic that I'm like, I don't want to talk about. Like, I just feel like it's like something that's not easily attainable, hasn't been easily attainable for me. So I'm like, I'm just going to work with what I got. But I know that I could be better, especially like with budgeting. I don't budget at all. And with, I want to learn how to invest, but like I said, money is something that I haven't been interested in discussing. Business is something that I haven't been interested in discussing. So that's why I'm like, maybe I should start like learning about investing, because I know that like if you don't make a lot of money, it's kind of like hard to save already. So it's like if you're saving and your money isn't like building any interest, and it's like kind of like you're not really profiting as much as you could be if you like begin to invest in things.
Right.
So I don't know, money's just yucky to me.
Yucky?
No, I felt that way, honestly, before I left Colorado, before I moved out here. Money was I was just working jobs that like I had to work. And like after college, I was just trying to figure it out. Like, all right, fuck, I got to make money. So I'll just do this. And it was really just a mindset. And me growing up, I come from like a middle-class family, and middle class is great and all, but to me it's just a rat race. Like, you try not to be poor and you ain't getting rich. So just like middle class for me, and money in my family, it was always like a conversation of lack of, or I have to save up to get that, or we'll talk about that if I have it. It was always that type of conversation. And it just got to a point for me where I was just like, damn, I'm tired of having this conversation. Like, I just want to have shit in place. So moving forward, like, it doesn't even have to, like, when you start investing, it doesn't have to be a lot. It could just be little action steps here and there. Like, it would be great for you to start just having a budget and you just see yourself saving, setting aside money. And, that just boosts your mindset and your shift about money, because it's abundant. There's so much of it. Like, and when you come into a mindset of like, money is here. It's for you. It's here to help you. It's here to help you live your best life. God wants you to, have the best of whatever life that pictures for you, whether that's traveling or, you might not want to be rich or whatever success for you is different. But, money does help a lot of situations. It does relieve the lack of. So for me, it was just changing the mindset and then getting around people that were around their passions, because the money just comes at that point when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and you're living in your purpose. So that's kind of how. And then when I moved to Atlanta, everything just was, money just comes at this point.
That's good. Look at you smiling. So cute. But yeah, I agree. I feel like a lot of people in our community are that way. And then I like the way that Michelle presented the information, because I don't want to ever put someone on the podcast who is coming from a hierarchy that's like, well, it's your fault that you're in this situation, because we know it's not that. We know that it's due to a lack of systemic help and support, and having not a generational head start. So that's kind of where it stems from. However, it's nice to have people who look like us in these settings so they can help us get to where we want to be.
I know.
Versus like, oh, you're not doing enough.
Pointing the finger, like preaching. Please don't preach at me, because I really won't listen to you.
I know.
I know, like, I'm aware too that scarcity is a mindset in some instances. So I know that, like, if I'm feeling like lacking, like I'm feeling like I'm lacking, then I will be. but you don't
you're
necessarily
blocking.
need to like have money, like I'm saying money like as an idea, I guess, to be like happy or joyful. I mean, sometimes I feel like shit, if I had money, I'd be straight, okay?
It does help.
I could fly to here and there and not have to worry about work, not have to worry about bills, because that is an added stress. So I'm like, when people say money doesn't make you happy, I get it. At the same time, I don't, because it's like most of the stresses for us, for our families, come from having no money. Having no way to feed ourselves, no way to get our car fixed if our car breaks down, or no way to travel, or no, like, so I'm like,
that
I don't know.
argument is kind of, it's like, and most of the times you hear people who have money.
Okay, right.
It's like, that's funny.
Okay.
I get more money, more problems, but sometimes I'll take those extra problems with a little more pocket change. But go ahead, friend. You have the next question. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, so speaking of systemic oppression, what are some specific ways Black businesses can go about finding funding? Because I know that like back in the days, it was like impossible for Black people to get money, loans and stuff like that. And now I don't think it's better. I just think it's different. So do you have ways that Black businesses can go about getting funding?
Yeah, so we actually help with that at the Legacy Center. I will say the first step, if you have a business and getting funding, if it's going to be like outside of your friends and family where, you've raised money with them or whatever, they've helped out. If not, now you're looking for funding, is making sure your credit is good, because these banks, that's what they look at. They're looking at your credit. I actually pulled it up on here. So we help you get funding. You can get up to $250,000 worth of funding. But your FICO credit score needs to be at least 640. No bankruptcy, collections, public records, no late payments, all that stuff really ties into, getting this bank funding. So it's really just important to make sure your credit is in place. There's platforms for startup businesses. There's one called startengine.com, which is a platform where if you are, a new business that you're starting up, they vet you out. All your paperwork needs to be in place. People can invest in your business or your idea, your product or service. So yeah, those are some of the ways. I'm really familiar with Start Engine. I've actually invested in a few companies through that platform. And, working with us at the Legacy Center, we do work with a company that helps you get funding. But the first thing is making sure your credit is pretty good.
Got it.
Do you have any tips for credit? I know, or do you guys help people kind of know what they need to do to fix their credit at the Legacy Center?
Yeah, so we actually have a team that we work with credit as well. Let me pull it up because I don't want to tell you something wrong. So I'm actually working on getting my credit fixed up as we speak, because I'm looking for business funding. I want to get like my first investment property. So, and my credit's been booty since I graduated college. So I'm cleaning it up now, actually in the process of getting that fixed up. But yeah, we do credit restoration for $750. But if you want inquiries removed, we can remove those. So it'd be $300 for up to 10. After 10 inquiries, it's $30 per inquiry. So you can kind of see like that. And if you want access to trade lines, we offer that as well. Okay.
I know there's like these new not loans, but grants that are going around that people are applying for. Well, new to me because I've just not heard about them. The SBA grants, Small Business Association grants that are going around that people are starting to apply for. Do you consider grants to be something that's useful in getting funding for businesses, or?
Yeah, I think what is going on with the SBA grant, I think honestly it's a great thing, because some of them are, I think the interest rate is like 3.5 or 1%. And honestly, you're not going to see a loan at that rate. Like, when are we ever going to see that again? So I think it's great to take advantage of. But however, you kind of, with any loan, you got to have a game plan. And you want to make sure it's going towards your business, and there's an ROI on the return. That's what I would recommend. I mean, just taking the money just to take it, I mean, it's great because it's a hard time right now for some people trying to figure out how to pay bills. But when it is time to, start paying that loan back, you want to have something in place to where, it was an investment and you got a return on it.
Right.
So I think it's been great for people, just how you're handling it in the long run. You can actually, if you were to take the loan, and you actually use it towards your business, for the loan part, if you showed that, you used these funds for your business and you kept record of it, they'll forgive it. So, but that's a whole process in itself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, you're never going to see a loan at this low of an interest rate, I don't think, for a long time. So
take advantage. If you can.
take advantage.
Take advantage if you can. So usually we go to another segment, go to Comments of Mariah, but I decided to just include all of it together.
Perfect.
So we got a lot of questions from Angel. So we will condense them.
Hey, Angel.
And then kind of one of her questions is the question that I asked you anyway. So we'll just go about saying it.
Angel's our rich friend.
Yes. Don't do it. No, but she's living her best life for sure. For sure. But she's also very generous. Do you have any good saving tips or advice for those that are listening? As far as say, I guess we'll use you as an example. Somebody who's like,
where do I start?
Like, how do I begin budgeting, and how do I start saving if I want to start doing those things?
And there's so many different saving techniques too.
Yeah, there's like the envelope one, the grandma's envelope system, and for bills, for water. And then there's like the other systems, like the rolling, like you pay on this card, and once that's done, then you pay on the next one. Right. Kind of roll. Mm-hmm. So what do you think is the best way to get started?
For me personally, I literally just went on YouTube when I was saving, and I found somebody that showed me how to like set up my payment date, and what I can save. For me, what helps me is just having everything on auto pay when it comes to my bills, because that actually helps my mind. Like, okay, I'm not thinking about how I'm gonna pay this bill or whatever. Like, I'm paying it. Even if it was at a point when I was paying bills and my shit went into the negatives, I'm like, all right, like my next payday, I'm good, So for me, it's just having things on auto pay. So I'm not even thinking about the bills. I'm thinking about how I'm trying to make more money, in a sense. And that's like where my focus and my energy is at. I think it's always important to save at least 10 to 20% of your paycheck. Just put that away. Like, it should just be automatic. There's an app I use called Empower. And you can kind of set it up to put away however much you want a week. So right now I just have it putting away like $50 a week, and it does it automatically. I don't see it. It just is what it is. If I need it or whatever, I know it's there. Right. So just having systems in place like that, to where, you're not even thinking about it, and bills aren't just, and also fix your lifestyle. Like, if you're living
above your means,
like for what? Like, for why?
Like, I'm trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah, and I'm just like not fucking with that. Yeah. And I'm like, for what? There's no reason to do all that. My bills are less than like $1,800 a month. Wow. And I live pretty frugally, and I save so much. I have a lot of money saved for investments or whatever I want to do, but I'm just not pressed to live above my means. I mean, I think it's different if you're like a single parent.
Right. Different.
Everybody's situation is
different. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everybody's situation is different for sure. But try to find ways to cut costs on certain things, whether that's getting a roommate, getting a different car, whatever the case is. I think it's worth the sacrifice in the long run. That's just how my mindset is. I don't really. And even coming from Colorado, I just think we come from a place, or a majority of us, we aren't like everybody else on social media. Like, our family, it's not flashy. It's not too, just from what I coming to Atlanta, I'm like, compared
to the other cities, other states, Colorado is very.
So we just come from a different type of environment. Even like the Black community in Colorado, I wouldn't say too many people are like flashy or, trying to do the most. I wouldn't say. But yeah, I see, like, coming to Atlanta, I'm like, even going to the mall, I'm like, I should have put on some red bottoms. Like, it's just too much going on, and people are trying to keep up with the image. So I say cut costs where you can, save where you can, put what bills you can on autopilot so you're not even thinking about it, and focus on, how to bring more income in.
I agree. I love that you touched on that because, like you said, everybody's situation is different. So I don't have any children. So
Right.
that extra
Savings
money
gonna look
that
a
I
whole
have
different.
is going to be looking a little different, as
Mhm.
well as like, you know, we all have different incomes coming in too. So whereas Michelle can say 50 a week, maybe her 50 looks like your 30, or
Right.
you know, whatever. Just as long as I think just starting the habit of saving.
And
is
two,
helpful.
I have a passive way of saving, so I really don't have to worry about it. I use Digit and I also use Albert, so I have two different. It's stupid, but I have two different. I don't even know what to call it, but they basically
Saving
take
apps.
out saving
Yeah,
apps.
I was using Digit. I like them, but they kept like because I have a credit union,
Mm-hmm.
so my credit union sometimes wouldn't connect with it. But I like
Oh.
Digit when I was using it.
Yeah, I have I do have a credit union, but I also have Chase and they take it out of my Chase account. So they take 50 cents here, $1 here, depending on how much money you have. And it's it's crazy because sometimes you look at I try not to look at my savings account because I would feel like, whatever.
No.
But anyways, it's so crazy how fast the money adds up, how $2 and $4 a day, like, or whatever, really adds up to
Yes.
something.
Yeah.
So I do recommend that as a way to save, just because it's
getting
so
started.
easy and you really, like, you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind.
Or spending that money that because I'm like, I used to go to Starbucks damn near every morning. And just working from home, I haven't really been doing that. And I'm like, the amount of money I've been able to save, because I literally would go to Starbucks almost every single day.
Yeah.
And that's like a bill in itself at the end of the month. So yeah, when you think about that, when you're saving like, even if it's a little bit $4 you would have spent at Starbucks or whatever the case may be, that adds up.
For sure. I think that's so good because I know people are like, when they feel like but what am I trying to say? I'm like, you know how you have like thoughts in your head, like, how am I going to say this out loud to everybody else? But anyways, yeah, I like that concept of like just kind of cutting corners where you can, because I don't like the idea of like give up everything. Like, I don't want people to feel like they can't have any luxuries in life. However, like Michelle said, like she was going to Starbucks every day. Maybe you can go once a week. You know what I mean? Get you a coffee pot, cook coffee most of the time at home, and then that Friday every week you can treat yourself. But every day,
Yeah, just and I just, like I say, there's a bigger picture for me at the end of all of this. So I kind of keep that in mind.
invest in property.
And even with upgrading your lifestyle, like even if you are getting a job that, pays more, keep your expenses the same. Don't upgrade your lifestyle because you're getting paid more. Like I'm getting paid more in Atlanta than I was in Colorado, but my bills are the same. Like I'm not adding nothing. I'm not upgrading my apartment, whatever the case may be. I'm trying to live within those means because the more money I'm making, that's more money to me I can save and do whatever with and invest.
That's good.
That type of thing.
I will say we ain't bashing nobody, okay? Because we know how it feels to not
you ain't bashing nobody.
Shut the fuck up. Anyways,
I'm kidding. We're
me
not.
and Michelle.
I'm kidding.
Mariah bashing
I'm not bashing anyone.
Follow her DMs. But anyways, that Mariah amazing. But anyways, we're not bashing y'all because I understand. Like at first, like, people say that people stunt or whatever.
You say something crazy.
No, girl. Okay. I get what it's like to not have any money. I understand that. And when you finally do get money, you're like, oh, bitch, I can finally buy this. Or I can finally buy this pair of shoes. Or I can finally go to this restaurant. I get that. We're not.
Yeah.
We're not saying don't do it.
Right.
We're saying do it not as frequently.
Right. Just maybe go ham and then be like, okay,
I did that. I'm
right. It's about balance.
Exactly.
It is about balance. Because that's how I be. I'm like, I be watching people and I'm like, all right, like you spend so much on your hair and nails every month, but I mean, do you have like a 401k? Like, do you do you invest? Like, and that's kind of, my friends kind of get mad at me because I'm just very blunt with it. And I'm just like, none of that shit you doing matters. None of it. Like, and I genuinely don't care. Like, I genuinely don't care about any of that. And that's just my mindset. And I get, when there is a lack of and you've never had, you wanna spend. But I'm just like, think of the bigger picture. Like, the best thing is, making sure you're straight in the end, or, your kids or your family. Like, that's just what's rewarding to me. That's what fills me up. And just sharing that information is just, I think we should all strive for that because all these other communities are doing it. And I think there is a shift going on in our community. We're starting to like wake up and we're starting to, change the way we think about things money wise. I see us like, investing, getting properties. But we're so far behind. We still got a lot more to do.
Man, reparations now.
No, really, run me my check.
Please,
Run me my
you
money.
can keep the mule, but I'll get the 40 properties though. What's the difference between buying a life insurance plan versus paying for one via employer benefits?
So your employee benefits, I mean, they just cover a certain amount. So they'll say you qualify for a certain face amount, and face amount just means, that's how much, if something were to happen to you, that would get paid out to your beneficiary, your kids, whoever. When you invest in a policy for yourself, you can kind of see how much you qualify for, how much you want. And that's really the only difference. They're telling you, you may qualify for this amount because they purchased a big policy for the company.
Gotcha.
That they have to deploy amongst the employees.
I was watching one of your videos on your YouTube, and you were speaking about term life insurance policies versus I forgot the name of the other one.
An IUL or a whole there's 3.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So I was, because like I said, I'm real funny about money. I was like, does it make sense to get a life insurance policy? Maybe how do I put this? But what you just said, I think like helped me understand, because I'm like, why would I get a life insurance policy now and then paying on it for 50 years? So by that point, they got like $100,000, $200,000 out of me. But it seems like you're saying you can choose how much coverage you want, and then they'll break that up by the years or whatever. Or how does that?
Just to like clarify, there is term, which I think where you were saying term is kind of just a bill in itself, because I think term can only go up to 30 years. And, I'm 24. So say I get a term policy for 30 years. When I'm 74, that policy has lapsed. I have to go search for more insurance. And the older I get, the more expensive life insurance is. For my family to benefit off of that life insurance policy, I would have to die before I'm 74 for them to benefit that. So
what happens to the money after the term ends?
It ends. You have to go shop for more insurance.
They don't give it back to you or nothing like that?
No, it's just money down the drain pretty much at that point. So, and that's where people think, like, I was working with the guy and he got term insurance and he had no idea. Somebody just sold him a policy just for they can get their commission, whatever the case was. And he had no idea that after the 10-year term or whatever, like that was it. He just thought he just had to stop paying on it. And I'm like, no, like when it's over, and we're just not educated on that.
And people be
so pretty much. And it's great for people that, people that have kids young, or if you're getting coverage for your grandparent and your grandparents in their later stage in life, you might want to get them like a 15-year. They might be in their 80s. You might want to get them a 15-year term, because term is always the cheapest too. So that's the thing. Term is like always about, where you are at financially. You might have a kid, and you just want to make sure your child's covered, and you want to just pay the least amount every month, but you just want to be the responsible parent and just, make sure, they're good and they're covered if something were to happen to them.
Right. That makes sense. So which one, so the other one you prefer, recommend versus term, obviously.
Yeah, so there is whole life. Whole life obviously covers you for your whole life, and there's a death benefit. But what we aren't taught about is what is called an IUL, which is an index universal life insurance policy. So with that, say you are paying, I think if I was running the numbers, if I was paying $100 a month, I would qualify for a $100,000 policy at my age. And part of that $100 that I pay every month goes towards my death benefit. So if something were to happen to me, that get paid out to whoever I wanted to. And then another portion of that $100, maybe it's 60-40, whatever the case may be, that's going into an investment side of the policy, which is called an index fund. And an index fund is, mirroring the global index, and it's locked in at a certain rate. So your money that's being invested is always catching the gains in the market, or if the market's down, you're not down with it. So if the market's down 10%, you're really up 11 because you're locked in at a rate. So you're only catching the gains, or your interest is staying fixed. And with an IUL, whether it be 5 years from now, 20 years from now, you can borrow that cash against yourself. You could take a loan out for yourself, and that could be a down payment on a new car, a house, you want to start a business, whatever the case may be. Pay for your kids to go to college. When you're ready to retire, whatever the case may be, that money has been invested. You have access to cash, and you can use that while you're living. So that's something they don't teach us about, and that's something I love, and I love to preach, because the younger you get it, the more you qualify for, the more money that's going to be invested. And when you are ready to retire, you can just, and it's the best thing, because you're not really thinking about, am I making a smart investment? It is a smart investment. You're not like looking at a stock, or like trying to figure out, should I invest in this stock type thing. It's like, all right, I'm putting this money aside every month. I know what it's doing. If push comes to shove and I need access to that money, I can go get it. But for the time being, the long-term goal is just to, let that money do its thing. When I'm ready to buy a home or retire, I can go look at it.
So you can get that money out. You can, and it's not like penalties or anything.
No. So you have, I think, for the interest to start accumulating, I think it's depending on how much you want to get qualified for, you start seeing the interest at about year 3 or 5. So it really just wouldn't make sense to borrow the cash against yourself until then. And then when you are borrowing that cash against yourself, you're paying the money back, which essentially is becoming your own self bank, which, that money is still getting invested. You're still getting a return on your money.
That's good.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one they don't really teach us about. And just for that alone, if people in our communities just had $100,000 policy, if every Black person had $100,000 policy, it would bridge the wealth gap. And we don't even think about it like that. It's just life insurance can do that alone. We don't have to inherit money from our parents saving up, or life insurance alone can bridge that wealth gap that there is in our communities.
Damn, this is good. A more lighter question. How are you able to be frugal while being bougie? Especially when it comes to trips, because I like trips.
That's what we were just talking about. Just like feeling like I want this thing, I want that thing, or I want to go here, or I'm going on a trip and I want to buy new clothes, like,
or even getting your hair done, or whatever your life joys are. Because I guess we all have our own. Like me. It's traveling and skincare. I'm gonna drop a bag on that every month. It doesn't matter. I mean, traveling, so I can't do that anymore. So I'm taking all that money to whatever. So how are you able to be frugal while being bougie? Well, being frugal, saving, and living beyond your means, within your means. Jesus fuck! Why can't I talk today?
Like I said, it's just me. I keep my expenses the same. I know what I pay every month, and I don't want that to get any bigger. Like, unless something happens to my car and I gotta get a new car, whatever the case may be. But for the most part, like I said, my bills are less than like $1,800 a month. I split bills with my boyfriend, and he is actually the one that is pretty bougie. But so he likes to spend money on stuff, and he is good with that, and he makes more money than me, so he has the movement to do that. So I've just been lucky that, like, if he sees something nice, he will get it for me, and I just don't care. I'm not the one that's going to go shopping for myself. One thing I will have done is like my eyebrows and my nails, like, and my feet. Like, that's all that's like a non-negotiable. That's like a non-negotiable.
Non-negotiables.
Yeah, like, that's for me. But yeah, just keeping your expenses low, and just saving up. And I would just expenses low. Keep them as low as you can do.
Yeah, that's good.
And don't try to overextend yourself. Don't think you gotta have the designer or anything like that. There's so many, like, you can go to the thrift store and look like a bag of money. Like, there's just so many ways to just go about stuff, and you just got to get out of that mindset that, like, I got to go spend $100 on some jeans. Like, no, you don't.
And too, with like trying to become more minimal in the things that I, bring into my space or whatever, and getting rid of a lot of stuff. The thing that I found helpful too is like not buying stuff that's like trending, but buying stuff that are like last. I know there are some things that you just be like, ooh, that's
your statement pieces.
Right. Have your statement pieces that you can like swap out, mix and match, do that kind of thing with, because if you're constantly buying stuff that's trending, it's like now you feel like you really don't have nothing to wear to go nowhere.
Right. And I honestly, if you are that type of person that is bougie and you got it like that, I would say when it comes to like jewelry and stuff like that, like gold is an investment. Like God only gave us so much gold in the world, so like you buying jewelry for yourself, and you might like jewelry, that's your thing. But when you're gonna go buy it, it should always be gold, because gold is always gonna be worth something. That's always an investment to have. Or I just learned this about like Birkin bags. Birkin bags are an investment. I used to think
they are. Like
I was just thinking like, girls just spend that on a bag, but they grow in value. Like it is an investment. Definitely. If you are to have a Birkin bag, people collect them and they are worth, some of them are worth millions now. So just finding stuff like that, whether it be jewelry or, clothing, do your research, because, it might be a good investment in the long run. But I will say, like, jewelry wise, gold is always good. If you're going to spend some money on that, that's a good investment.
Gotcha. So. I have another question, because I know as far as like saving, you can only save so much if you don't have so much. Are there any ways, or are there any hobbies or things people can do to make more money? I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. So there is a bunch of platforms. I don't know if you guys have heard of like Fiverr.
Yes. Oh, the freelancing thing.
But yeah, Fiverr is just a freelancing platform. If you know how to do something, whether that's, building a website, or you just want to be like an assistant to somebody for a few hours, they might need some emails completed, make some phone calls. That's just a way to find some, some side hustle money. Instacart. I've actually connected with some people that are connected overseas, so they can really get anything for like pennies on a dollar. So just finding stuff like that for like vendors, if you're interested in a clothing line, finding vendors where you can get, clothes for cheap and sell it for a profit, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, whatever skill you have, you can market and you can make some money off of. Somebody's paying for it. You know how to, build a dresser, because I had to build my dresser in my bed. We paid somebody for that. I wasn't going to sit there and do that for 4 hours out of the day.
Yeah.
If you have any type of skill, babysitting, washing cars, whatever the case is, you can. But there are platforms like Fiverr. I've actually used people on that too.
Same.
Mariah's a hustler, y'all. I maybe she asked that question for y'all, because it definitely wasn't for her. No. She got like seven sources of income.
She is a hustler, I know.
Don't let her fool you.
Income, but I'm just saying, because I know some people might be listening to this like, bitch, I'm not giving up my sew-ins. I'm not giving up my trips. I'm not giving up nothing. So let's just make more money then. Since you can't save money, take the money that you make up from Fiverr, Instacart, or Amazon, to have those, delivery drivers and stuff. Take the money you make from that and save that, and then spend your actual job check or whatever, or vice versa, or whatever you want to do. So you can still have your luxuries, be bougie, but be bougie on a budget.
Right. And I will say this, actually, if anybody is interested in learning how to trade, because I know people are on there talking about like Forex is a scam and it's like such this thing. And I think there's just one company out there that's kind of giving it a bad name. It's kind of like the Love and Hip Hop of trading. So I think it's kind of giving people like the bad name of investing. But there are free things that you can do. So if somebody's interested in learning, there's a YouTube that's called Wicks Don't Lie and Trade with Monty, and they live stream their sessions every morning. I get on their live sessions sometimes in the morning, and I make $200, and they'll place a trade, and that's free money. You just got to get your ass up in the morning and just see the markets. But yeah, these are real professionals. They live stream their sessions on YouTube, and I make my money here and there when I get up for that. So that's free money that they teach you how to trade, and it's kind of like on the job learning, because you're actually in the market. These are live sessions, but you're watching a live session with a professional, and they'll take 1 or 2 trades in the morning, and that's some money in your pocket too, and you don't have to pay to learn and all of that.
Right. I was going to say,
tune into a free session.
I was going to say that was I think that's where the people just speculate the bad things about it due to having to pay a certain amount of money to even get access to such a program. And it's kind of like Michelle just said, like the free resources are out there for that.
Yeah. And I think that platform that they're talking about, I think I've been a part of that platform and I think it's great, but you can just get lost in all of the shit that's in it that because there's so many ways to invest in the market and trade. And there's just so many ways you can go about it. And if you don't have like the right mentor and stuff, you know, it is an investment. You invest in yourself, you want to see a return. So that's just what that company is doing. They've created a platform for, you know, people to invest in themselves and, you know, they get compensated for it. But, you know, there are some really dope guys like the ones I just mentioned that they live stream their sessions every morning on YouTube. They might place a trade and they might not. But if they do, you know, you made some money. So
that's cool. That's really cool. Do you have anything you want to ask, Michelle?
Of course.
Oh, of course. Go
I
ahead.
just wanted to
go ahead.
Go. So I know that you mentioned Trading with Monty, I believe you said it's called, and Wicks Don't Lie. Where do you trust to get your financial information from online?
So with that being said, I've just been following these guys for a minute on Instagram. Just Wicks Don't Lie. He sucked at trading like 2-3 years ago. Like he was horrible, but I've just been able to like witness his progress and he is very transparent in his results. He shows a live account. He shows his profit every month, every week. It's broken down. And then, you know, when you're in the live sessions and you're making money, it's kind of like, oh, okay, he knows what he's talking about. Like I didn't lose on that trade. So, you know, and it's free information. So that was just a guy. I had seen his progress from 3 years to now. And it's been a 180 in regards to, you know, how much money he's been making. So just that, I have friends that are already they trade and they've been doing it for years and they have companies doing where they teach people, so I can kind of pick their brain and I know who they're talking about, and I'm already connected in that world and I ask a lot of questions. And sometimes and when you have a mentor or you thinking about getting a mentor or learning from somebody, I don't think it's that bad to like ask for their, you know, let me see your account. Like, what are you doing? You know, because you're trying, like, this is an investment on yourself and you want to make sure they are who they say they are. Like, okay, show me the results. Like, show me what you've been able, show me your results, show me what you're able to do. And they shouldn't take offense to that because in this day and age, there's a lot of people capping and, you know, I need to see, what you're doing. And I don't think it's wrong to ask for proof or to ask for them to verify the success that they claim they've had. So.
That's good. How would you, if someone's interested in Forex, besides following those accounts, how would they go about finding a mentor?
So you could reach out to me. You could email me. I just have a lot of resources. If you have questions, if you don't know how to open up an account, I'll walk you through how to, you know, set up an account. But yeah, you could just reach out. There's a lot out there. You can but I know about 4 that I would trust you can make an investment with or learn from for sure.
All right, you guys heard it. Her emails are open, not DMs. Her emails are open.
Yes,
emails. I don't want her boyfriend kicking our ass. But yeah, so do you have any other questions, friend? I know you do.
Yeah, I'll try to make this my last question. So I know that you spoke about, like, you know, growing up, the conversation about finances was mostly based on scarcity. How did you change your mindset on that? Or what made you change it? Like, did something happen?
What was the shift?
What was the shift for you?
Honestly, it's just money has always been like innately in me. Like, I don't know how to describe it. I've always been interested in learning like the game of money because it really is like Monopoly out here. It is really a game. You just have to learn the rules and you have to learn how to play the game. So it's just something that I've always been interested in and I've always questioned. But what changed for me was really just getting out of Colorado, getting away from my family, and just that
You heard it here first,
mindset.
folks. Like, no, I'm kidding. I'm leaving. It's like, I'm kidding.
Yeah, and just seeing a different side of things, like just seeing a different world, because like in Atlanta, everybody's thriving. All these Black businesses are thriving, and when you come from Colorado and you're a Black person, it's kind of like intimidating. You don't see a lot of that. So just being in an environment where it's like, I see somebody that looks like me, and they don't work a 9 to 5, or even if they do, it's a great 9 to 5, and they've had the resources and tools to find a career in that pathway. So just getting away from that has just changed my mind completely. Even my mentor, when we were doing taxes this past season, she was like, all right, we got to make $1,000 a day. And she really just broke it down to the numbers. And when you think of like the numbers, it's just like, okay, this is obtainable. Like, I know I got to hit these many sales and at this price point or whatever. Just really breaking it down to like the simple steps, and not thinking of like the end goal as such this far away thing. Thinking about like, okay, this week or today, like I need to at least hit 3 sales or whatever the case may be. But yeah, getting out of Colorado, I would say for sure, and just being around a mentor where it was just like, she broke it down to the numbers where I'm just like, okay, that makes sense. Like that is not so much anxiety thinking about hitting those numbers in a sense.
That's good.
So getting out of your 4 corners. I'm not.
She
ain't saying you gotta get the fuck out of Colorado. She's just saying like travel.
Explore.
Experience different things. Experience different places. If you are in Atlanta, maybe you come to Colorado. See how things are different everywhere.
If you are thinking about leaving, go ahead and leave and see how it goes.
Right. Because you get around people that you're comfortable with, like, and I can attest, like in Colorado, some of my friends, like they're just in the same place, and it's just no like, and they might get offended because I'm the type of friend that I'm like, what do you want to do? Like, I'm gonna help you do what you want to do. Like, all right, Mariah, you want to go model for something? Like, do you need to help you schedule appointments with people? Like, I'm that type of friend that's like, okay, what's the game plan? But some people take offense to that because they're not even invested in themselves, that they can't even fathom somebody else trying to help them out. And just getting away from people like that, or friends that keep you stagnant, I think that's gonna tell you how much money you're gonna make. It really is your network, honestly, who's you're around. The money I've made has really just been from the relationships I've made and changing my environment.
I don't know if Michelle, our old co-host, used to say this or what. I feel like I heard her say it, but she would always say your network increases your net worth.
Yeah, something she would say.
No, it's true. It really
Look
is
at these
true.
Shout out to Michelle Moore.
Yeah, no, that is definitely the truth. And just, trying something new, trying to find people that have your interest, or if you don't know how to do something, reaching out to somebody that knows how to do it. Like, don't be scared to ask questions. Like, that has got me the furthest in life. It's just the job I had gotten. I saw some guy at Starbucks. This is a job I had in Colorado that was like one of like the best jobs I had. I had met this guy at Starbucks, and the only reason I approached him is because he had a nice ass car. It was this Black guy. He had a nice ass car. And I was like, oh, what does he do? And I just walked up to him and I was just like, what do you do? Like, tell me more. And he actually owned a magazine, and he got me my next job. He was partnering with this company for a project. And he was like, if you guys want to partner with me, you have to hire Michelle. And that's literally how I got the job. Wow. Just I saw him in Starbucks. I was like, oh, that's a nice car. I just want to know what he does. And just open your mouth. Closed mouth don't get fed. People want to share this information. Yeah, I love sharing stuff like this, but people just don't want to ask.
Yeah, and also don't be afraid of rejection, because I was gonna just say, sometimes you do reach out to people and they won't respond to you. Don't feel played. Just go to somebody else. It's cool.
They want the person to share the information with.
Right. Don't even worry about it, sir.
It's fine.
Yeah, like don't even. Yeah, that's the whole thing in itself, and that's I've had that before, but no, I love sharing the information that I do have, and I'm here to whatever I can help. Message me.
Yeah, she's here to be a resource, y'all.
For sure.
What? Well, I wanted to ask the last question before we go to Unidish, if you have some Unit, or you just want to end up. Yeah. Okay, perfect. I think we already talked about this. One of her other question was, what are the big areas of opportunity that you see with COVID-19 funding for grants? I think we kind of touched on grants, but
do
we
you
can
know
kinda talk on
any money that's coming from like the pandemic, as far as like I've heard about student loan forgiveness because of COVID, or like some more stimulus checks coming out, or like for businesses and stuff like that that are affected by COVID.
that's a good question.
Yeah, so other than the SBA, I actually think they like ended that this last week because I think a lot of people were frauding. We're trying to get like funding and stuff. So I think the IRS like stopped a lot of that. But I would say, I'm sorry, what was the first part of the question?
She was basically asking is what um hmm do you know of any funding that we are able to access because of COVID? Like I said, about like student loan forgiveness,
Yes.
or like businesses can get, or stuff like that.
Yeah, so I mean, SBA, I think ran its course. I'm pretty sure that might be it. Student loans are actually on hold. They're not putting any interest until September. So in regards to forgiveness, I'm not quite sure. There are programs out there. I'm not really versed in that. So I don't want to speak too much on it, but I will say, I mean, you're good till September, sis. So
Yeah, that's dope. I think there's go ahead, were you gonna say something?
No, I was saying I think I didn't research it, so don't quote me, but I think I did hear that if you're an essential worker, they may forgive some of your loans, but that's just a rumor. I don't know if that's true.
that would be great.
That
Okay.
would be amazing. They
Girl.
deserve.
Essential.
But I was gonna say, some loans, unlike some of the private loans, are not letting up on our
Right.
ass.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I've
Ew.
experienced. Yeah, like I have a private loan with Navient that I got when I was an undergrad. They definitely still make me pay and
Really?
still add interest. Yes,
Hmm.
yes, girl, I have a private loan, so yes, it's different.
Yeah.
So but my Fed loans, they have stopped payment and aren't adding interest. So it's definitely different. So make sure that you do your research because all of it doesn't apply across the board. But there's some businesses even that are giving you like not forgiveness, but like a deferment. Cause I have one with I have Wells Fargo. I got it like back in high school, so I just kept that card. It's my longest line of credit, so I'm not gonna close it.
Yeah, don't
Close
give
it. Yeah. So I have a credit card with them, and I don't have much on it, but they gave me 3 months of like no payment. I don't have to pay for 3 months, but that's the time I'm gonna take to make those payments. And then there's even I actually work for an attorney, and I was calling some people to like. She just moved, so I was calling people to like cancel some things and kind of put things on hold until she gets like settled. And I know I called one of her security plans, and they were like, oh yeah, we're doing 3 months free for all our members right now, and so we'll do 3 months free, and then the next 3 months that we do have you back on, we're gonna cut the payments in half. So maybe if you call people and be like, hey, I'm looking to pause, they can like kind of work with you.
Yeah, no, definitely if you call people that help out, even if it's like on your car note or your Excel energy bill, they might like your car note, they might add it to like the total amount that's due on the car, and that might be added at the end, but they'll defer it for 1 or 2 months. All you have to do is give these people a call and let them know your situation. And more times often than not, they are understanding and they're able to at least give you a month or two of breathing room to kind of like figure out what you need to get done. So yeah.
I think that's good.
All right, final question before we get out of here. Where do you recommend people start with the whole financial freedom journey? Whether it be savings or investing or something else, where do you think people should start, or where would you recommend someone starting?
I highly, highly, highly recommend getting a life insurance policy and start saving. Those two things. Like if don't nothing get paid, your life insurance policy needs to get paid because that just return on investment, whether that be 5 years from now, 20 years from now, um, you're gonna have access to a lot of cash that you can retire with, you can go start a business with. Um, a life insurance policy I just think is so important. And even some people, they don't they don't fuck with their family, so they're like, what do I need to get that for? I don't want to leave them with nothing. Like,
Oh my God.
I don't want to leave them with anything. But those are some people that like they're very selfless, and they're like, I don't even care if I see this money in my lifetime. I just want to make sure the next generation, my kids, are straight, they inherit something. And like I said, life insurance is the one thing we can do as a community that if we all had $100,000 policy, we could bridge the wealth gap like that in a generation. So I would definitely say that getting an IUL policy specifically, because that money that you can borrow against yourself is just going to be a blessing down the road. And then just start saving, just start budgeting and saving and getting your lifestyle right. Like, start being more disciplined, because once you hit, like your 30s and stuff, like, pretty much are who you are. If you have bad habits, those bad habits are just going to be there. So just start getting into the motion of being more disciplined, saving, and I would say for sure get a life insurance policy. So if you have questions about that too, hit me up. We have a team of people I could help. I can connect you with in your state. So yeah, just let me know.
And the IULs, is that something people should just Google, or do you have like specific companies that you trust, or do they just email you?
We're a brokerage, so we shop your quote around to whatever you're comfortable with, and what they qualify you for. But the main one we work with is Transamerica, which is just a company that's been around for years. You guys have probably heard of Transamerica. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're great. They have a great history of paying out. So yeah, that's the main one we work with. But we're a brokerage for multiple companies. So if you're not comfortable with one, we can shop you around for another one.
Good. This has to check in before we check out.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. One more thing. IULs, you do have to hit a certain amount to invest in. So the younger you are, the cheaper it is. I mean, it's the more expensive policy. But I think the minimum for like people around our age, you need to be paying $70 to $90 a month to qualify for an IUL. That you can't really do anything less. Anything less than that is kind of like just a term policy that you would qualify for. But for the investment side, if you're around the age of like 2024, that area, I think you'd be looking at about around $90 a month to qualify for.
So our older listeners, you might want to do it now too, just to make sure you have it, but it might be a little bit more, but
yeah, and that's just depending on how much you want to get you want to get approved for. So you might just want to get approved for $50,000, and that might be cool for you. But that money is still growing and investing and getting invested in. So it's whatever and we work with your budget. So even when I talk to people, sometimes I'm like, what's your budget? I think they get intimidated because they think they have to give me a number, and that's not what I'm here for at all. Like, whatever you're comfortable paying a month, so it's not a headache and you're not stressed about paying it every month. It's kind of just like, all right, this is getting paid. That's the number we're going to go with, and I'll let you know how much you qualify for with that number. So it is whatever you are comfortable with paying. Don't feel like you got to tell somebody, oh, I want to pay $300 a month on a policy or whatever. Like, don't feel that way at all. It's genuinely whatever you're comfortable with, I'm going to work with, and that's just what it's going to be.
Got it.
Cool. So. Thank you for all of this information. Could you drop where they can contact you?
And the Legacy Center and all that? Oh, that's our Black Business of the Week. Ding! Our Black Business is Legacy Center / Michelle here. So,
is the Legacy Center something that people outside of Atlanta could utilize, or is it only for Atlantis? What the fuck?
Atlantis population.
Atlantis.
Yeah, no, we have like PO boxes for businesses, or if you want like an online space, like co-working space, we offer that. You can come in and tour whenever you want. We actually will be doing. So the main part is like the financial hub that you guys see. There's another half of the building that in phase 2 that they're going to make into a media thing where you can, shoot content, podcasts, photo shoots, whatever you want to do. Jay Morrison's wife, she's kind of the head in that realm. That's kind of her lane. So there'll be that. You can always come tour. There's co-working space. We have a caf. So yeah.
If there is someone in Colorado who wanted to use the Legacy Center, the information, like, can they or do they have to be living there?
She said
if I want.
online.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on the website, and then we always, since everything is shut down anyway, we've been doing like live sessions. So every week we'll have like a guest on the live, and the Instagram is at our Legacy Center. So yeah, you'll just see stuff on there because we can't really host events now. The events are pretty much just live streamed on Instagram and Facebook.
Gotcha. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Did you already tell us where we can find you? Social media, email, blah blah blah.
You can do Michelle at legacycenter.com. My Instagram is at Shell CHELLE.LUVV. And that's how you can find me.
And if you follow our Instagram and Melanin Voices podcast, we always tag, so you can just click it and go to her page and email her and just kind of hit her up, let her know that you have some questions, and I'm sure she'll be able to help you.
Right.
Yeah, don't hesitate to ask. Like, start asking. We need to start asking questions. We gotta stop acting like we gotta figure it out and not, try to do it by ourselves. Like, open your mouth.
Seriously.
Ask questions.
I was about to say what I gonna say.
What you gonna? Please don't. You're disgusting. It's 9 a.m. Chill.
I know, I'm like, sorry. Pause.
Nula, please. Tanisha, please. Goodness.
My bad.
Goodness.
You get what I was saying.
Yes, we know what you were saying. You're so irritating, you
Hey.
disgusting ass.
Hey.
It's Sunday, gosh. It's the Lord's day. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us and being a part of this episode. We really appreciate it, and I think that it's going to be helpful for those who are listening.
Right.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I'm in the process of starting my business, so I'll have some more resources for, people to start saving. Some people like, hand things, so I might be selling books, or, digit offering, stuff like that, just so you guys have more resources and just more free resources. I'm just the type of person, I have to get better at like marketing my business and like selling myself, but I genuinely just want to help. And I don't think you need to pay an arm and a leg for somebody to teach you some shit,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We are appreciative of that.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
I totally understand. So thank you for having me. I love this. I love what you guys are doing. This was fun.
Thank you so much that you're coming on. Yay. We might have to have you again, so we have some follow-up questions or something like that.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to.
For sure.
When you do begin your business, we'll definitely have to
have you on again.
Reach you out again. Have you back on the show. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yay.
Thank you.
Money still ain't my favorite thing, but I at least know where to start.
You're more comfortable now. Yeah.
Yeah, don't have that mindset. Just be more, think of it more of like an abundant mindset. That's what's gonna help, because you thinking of lack of literally just blocks that frequency and that energy of like just coming to you. So yeah, when you do have something, and abundance is anything, like abundance can be anything to you. So when you feel abundant, that's anything attracts to you.
Yeah.
You is abundant.
You a money magnet.
When you feel abundant, you is abundant. Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you guys for listening. We love you. We talk to you soon.
Bye. Peace.
Bye. See ya.
Thanks for listening to Melanin Voices podcast. Before you go, though, show some love for your favorite podcast by leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, and while you're there, subscribe too.
And a comment on SoundCloud and YouTube. And be sure to share this episode with a friend, family member, or your boo, or whoever you think will want to be a part of our Melanin Voices family. Until next time.